Well, a lot of us expected that it was going to be delayed, so we didn't realize it would be this sudden. So we're all a bit in shock still, but since some of us still have our accounts, we're just unsure what's going to happen and how they're going to ensure that we're not going to be able to access social media. But I think eventually without it, we'll learn how to adapt to it. I just feel like there's a lack of trust. I mostly think that the social media should be up to the parents to decide whether their children should be allowed it or not. I don't think it should be a government thing. And I do have a few friends who don't have social media because their parents just don't allow them, and they're pretty fine with it. We're all fine with it. I feel like it's different if it's on a nationwide level since everyone's getting banned. But yeah, it's mostly I feel like, why are they not trusting us with the responsibility of having an account? A lot of my friends have jobs, especially at this age, and a lot of them are getting their L's soon. So I just don't understand why having a social media account is such a stretch for the government.
We'd always regulated media in the public interest, and I think what the government's trying to do is to return some of the public interest. That's a good thing because, as I say, there have been harms. It's come internationally, it's come from other places. I think looking at questions around social media from an Australian perspective is a really good idea.
I don't think bans tend to work. When it's a blanket decision, it doesn't take into account the nuance and the variables and people's individual situations. And frankly, people tend to find a way around bans if they really want to. So I don't think it's going to achieve what it's set out to achieve.
I think it cuts kids off from the community more than forcing them back out in real life. I think it just cuts them off from support as well that they could be accessing. They are now going to have to get their news only from traditional media, which has a particular bias that might be different from what they find online. So in general, I don't think this is a good thing.
People are going to find ways around most things. So I think people who want to will find a way around it. But I think the government has to do something, and I think if it's successful in Australia, which I think it probably will be, the rest of the world will probably follow. A bit like plain cigarette packaging on tobacco products. That was a successful outcome for Australia, and I think lots of other countries followed on from that.
Hi there, students. It's the Prime Minister here, and I want to speak to you directly about something very important. From December 10, if you're under 16, you're no longer allowed to have a social media account. You'll know better than anyone what it's like growing up with algorithms, endless speeds, and the pressure that can come with that. That's why we've taken this step to support you. If you have questions, by all means, reach out. Talk to your parents, your teachers, and your friends. And if you feel like you need more support, Headspace and Kids Helpline is there to assist. Above all, make the most of the school holidays coming up, rather than spending it scrolling on your phone. Start a new sport, learn a new instrument, or read that book that has been sitting there on your shelf for some time. And importantly, spend quality time with your friends and your family, face to face. Have a great summer.
Well, this is Australia calling time on social media and the deceptive and harmful design features tethering our children to their platforms, gamifying it through endless scroll and snap streaks and autoplay, sending them down dangerous rabbit holes. It's built into the system to keep stickiness through outragement. So the reason the Andrew Tates of the world and the online misogynists are getting so much traction is because the system is built to promote that kind of outrage. We have young Australians who have literally taken their lives as a result of accessing these platforms. So when their lawyer yells back at us about, do you know about free speech? Well, do you know that we actually have laws, and we expect any company that is providing services in Australia to abide with our laws. And so that's another thing that's very interesting to me, this whole concept of technological exceptionalism. There is no other consumer-facing industry in the world where we don't expect them to make sure that there are safety standards. But I think one of the reasons they push so violently back against this policy is because it directly goes to revenue. And there are 2.5 million 8 to 15-year-olds in Australia. Before this policy came through, or other policies across Europe, for instance, the companies have had, we know 84% of 8 to 12-year-old Australians had a social media account last year. So even with the age being 13, we know the preponderance of young people have been online. So they can no longer turn a blind eye.
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌帮助了睡眠品质。有季节敏感、代谢困扰、关心异常细胞风险的好朋友呢，可以选择原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌。它添加有超级食物羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。
大家好，我是主播林家远。生活压力大，失眠、浅眠是现代人常见的烦恼。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌现在进一步推出晚安加强版，添加水染伽巴、色氨酸、茶氨酸、香蜂草4大天然草本，帮助睡眠的配方，强化睡眠，全期都起到放松舒眠的效果。选择太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，做好日常保养，实现睡眠自由，身体轻松无负担。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，输入推荐码有额外折扣。
太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。